Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the GWAT Fob podcast, brought to you by Combat Outpost Robinson, doing great things for our veterans. I'm Jim Robinson. I'm your host, and today we've got another very special guest. And folks, they just keep coming. And this one is very extraordinary young lady by the name of Heather Junqueira. She is founder and CEO of an organization called Bio K9. Which is canine detection programs, biosecurity, public health, and CBRN screening. She is founder and chief executive officer of BioK9, leading the development and operational deployment of scientifically defensible canine scent detection programs integrated with air sampling, analytical chemistry, and confirmatory diagnostics for biological, chemical, environmental, and public health threats. With experience in translating research-grade canine detection into scalable field programs for government and industry partners, with a track record spanning oncology-related detection work, large-scale COVID-19 screening operations, international pilots, and multi-institution research collaborations. Heather, welcome to the show. And
Thank you for having me.
you've got an incredible background, impeccable. I mean, you're into everything.
A little bit, yeah, yeah.
You've into everything. I mean, you've been all over the world with your dogs and your detection programs and stuff, and the whole biochemical thing is just something totally new to me. So. I've heard for years about them using dogs to, detect cancer and other things like that. So,
Yep.
Why don't you give us a little background on what you got going on there, because it seems like quite a bit.
Yeah. So, a little background on the company and on myself. I started out with cancer detection when I got into the scent detection world. Before that, I worked in the guide dog industry with breeding and genetics. And then I lost my father to cancer. So, and it was a late diagnosis. And I was like, how is this possible? Like, why isn't our technology better?
Right.
And I found an article on a company that trained dogs to detect cancer. It was Pine Street Institute out in California. So I reached out to him, gave him my background, told him I was interested in their work. And the guy called me up and he's like, hey, we need someone to validate our research. If we give you everything, will you duplicate it and validate it? And I was like, sure. So that started a whole nother course. So we started looking at lung cancer and breast cancer to see if dogs could identify it in blood serum. Then we moved to breath samples, and they were very successful at it. But there was a problem with it. The problem was the dogs were detecting cancer before, like in breast cancer, they were picking up 18 months before a mammogram.
Oh, wow.
So it's amazing. And you would originally think, wow, this is great. Like you could save so many lives. But in reality, we just tortured the patients because no doctor is going to see a patient because the dog said they had cancer.
Right.
That hopefully will change in the future. And there's a company I'll get to in Israel that's doing great work with the cancer now that I consult with. But the doctors explained to me, they said, look, an oncologist needs a tumor to biopsy so we can develop treatment plans. We're just not there yet.
Right.
Early treatment. So I was like, okay. Around about that time, COVID came around. So a doctor called me up and he was like, hey, Heather, can you train a dog on a virus? And this was before I had ever heard of COVID. And I was like, maybe. I was like, we have to do a study. We need to see. And he's like, okay. I said, well, what's the name of it? And he said, it's COVID-19. So I started calling everybody, like every biorepository that I worked with, I called all of them. And I'm like, just telling them, hey, do you have this virus? I need to get samples. And they're like, nope, never heard of it. I was like, okay. And I keep calling, just nothing. I'm not getting anything, right?
What was the timeline that started?
So this was, I have to look back at the exact month. This was about 3 months before the lockdowns, like
Okay.
before we knew
I was just
anything
curious
about
because you hadn't heard
it. Yeah,
about it and they're wanting you to
no,
start
yeah,
looking into it. I'm thinking, wait a minute,
yeah.
somebody's got something we don't know about.
I honestly, I don't know how the doctor who reached out to me, I just like worked out with him at a gym I went to, and he did some epidemiology. I don't know how he heard about it. So, I wasn't having any real luck finding samples. And then, like, I think this was like one pivotal moment in my career. I got a phone call, and I was actually sitting out here in the same spot I'm sitting now. And it was from Washington, D.C. I saw the D.C. number and I looked at it. I was like, oh, that's weird. And I pick up the call, and the guy immediately tells me, you're on a recorded line with 6 people. He said his name, said he was from the Department of Defense. And
Oh,
then I
wow.
think I just went silent,
Yeah.
right? And he goes, don't worry, you're not in trouble. He's like,
Well,
but we
that's
need to, yeah,
comforting.
comforting, right? I was like, oh my God, my heart just stopped. And he's like, we need to talk to you though. He goes, we have to ask you a few questions. And he's like, you can answer them now, or we can arrange if you want a lawyer present. And I'm like, no, I don't need a lawyer. Like, if I'm not in trouble, just ask.
Right.
And I'm like trying to figure out what it's about. And so he asked me, he said, you've been inquiring about these samples of this virus. I was like, oh, then I got it. I'm like, okay, now. So I went into the whole story, about the dogs and what I did with cancer and what I was wanting to do to see if they could detect a virus or not. And just that somebody had asked me. And that's why I was, calling around and wanted to set up a pilot study. These poor guys, I had them on the phone for like an hour, like talking all this dog stuff. And finally they were like, okay, we're good. Like, we got all the information we need. They're like, best of luck to you. And I'm like, okay, great. And I hang up and I was like, wow, that was just crazy.
Right.
And the very next day, one of the biorepositories that I had worked with in the past that I had called reached back out to me. And they were like, the craziest thing happened. You had called us about these samples and they just became available.
Wow.
And so, yeah, I was like, huh, imagine that. So, one thing led to another. I had dogs detecting COVID. We did a double blind study, trained them, did a study, proved they could detect COVID in the presence of other diseases. They could differentiate. So, by the time the lockdowns happened, I had dogs ready to deploy.
Wow.
So, this was a huge shift as well because everything I had done up to this point with scent detection had been in a laboratory.
Okay.
You know, I had worked with guide dogs and the service dogs would go out, but that's very different yet still than a working dog, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So, huge difference. So I started reaching out to like all the canine handlers that were like police officers that I know. I started reaching out to everybody like, I need some help here. I need advice. And so I got a group of guys that had worked canine units that were cops, and they were my first handlers. They're like, "We got this."
Right. Oh, yeah, I'm sure
And
they was all in.
it was crazy. Like, it was such a whirlwind. Our first big screening, our big huge event was in Atlanta, and it was for Triller Fight Club. And they're like, we're having like Justin Bieber was performing, Diplo was there, and it was the Jake Paul fight with one of the MMA fighters.
Yeah.
But this was still, everything is locked down, right?
Right.
So they said, you'll like, there was no one in the hotel but us. It was so like leery. It was really weird. And each one of these like performers, they had like their entourage. So the deal was everybody had to be PCR tested before they got on a flight. Once they arrived, I had to screen everyone with the dogs. Like, so my team would screen everyone, and then they would go to a rapid test. So there was like multiple layers of
Right.
screening, right? So a great way to validate the work. Super, super stressful for my first deployment. I was like, holy cow, like if
Right.
we mess up here, we're done, right?
Right.
So we found 8 cases of COVID. We had 8 positives
Wow.
amongst everybody that we screened. Of those positives, there were 2 of them that did not pop positive on their rapid test then.
Okay.
And so we thought they were false positives.
Right.
One of them, the girl was already showing symptoms, like she had had a fever and stuff. So the people at Triller Fight Club, they sent her home. Like
Sure.
she left
Yeah.
in tears. So bad. She left crying. I'm like, I'm sorry. Like we had 2 dog screeners, same result each time, but the rapid test was negative still. The other individual like was hostile. Like he
Wow.
was so mad. He was like, I don't have COVID. I had a PCR test. And so the event coordinators were like, they asked him to wear a mask and, just to keep his distance from people. So he goes into the event and I see him after the event that night, and there's like a bar and people are socializing. He's chit-chatting with everyone, no mask on, nothing, which I don't think the mask works anyways.
No,
but
I never did.
It's like the size of COVID. I was looking to strain COVID out of the samples, and the filters you would need, oxygen would not pass through.
Right.
So I'm like, how on earth did they think this mask works? It was just ridiculous.
Yeah, I agree.
But that's another conversation
yeah,
for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a long one. But the story behind this guy though, I got a call the next week that guy was in the hospital with COVID. And they're like, your dogs were correct. So we started tracking what we thought were our false positives. And it turned out that the dogs could pick up COVID 3 days before PCR testing.
Wow.
So it was their sense of smell is so amazing, and just the
Oh, it
changes in the
is.
body. So that was so that shifted like the whole trajectory of my business. Went into setting up security perimeters, deploying the dog. So it became much more of a security type business as opposed to just research. And so eventually people quit caring about COVID. So we're like, okay, what's next?
Right.
We rode that train while it lasted.
They'll find something.
Yeah, we sent dogs everywhere. I had a contract doing raves. I had never been to a rave in my life.
No,
oh my gosh.
And I don't know if I'd ever want to.
You don't want to go. Oh my God.
That's
It was eye-opening.
I
I was like, luckily we were only screening the build out and the people close to the artist. So we were just doing security on that end. Like they didn't care about the crowds coming in,
Right.
And thank goodness, because I took the dogs through there once and I'm like, don't eat that, because we have beagles. And I'm like, all I need is a beagle dying from a drug overdose.
Right.
So it was crazy. It was crazy. But we also did a lot of political events. And so no, it was a great learning experience. Of course, we had some challenges we had to learn how to overcome.
Right.
And as to be expected. And so it was good. It was a great learning curve. Then I was like, okay, well now nobody cares about COVID anymore. Like, what are we going to do? At this point, I had like over 100 dogs.
Oh, wow.
I was like, holy cow, what are we going to do now?
Right.
So I started talking to people, and like chem bio stuff just kept coming up, there's a lot of the stuff, about like, COVID, and that's like, we could get into that whole discussion about, being, made in a laboratory, and which I'm pretty sure it was. And,
Right.
We could move on from there. So I started looking like, what else, what else is there that we can look at? And African swine fever kept coming up.
I saw
And
that
I was
in your bio.
Yeah. And I was like, African swine fever. I'm like, what is this? So what it is, it's a hemorrhagic virus that affects pigs, and it only affects pigs, but it kills them in 48 hours.
That's crazy.
And yeah, and the death is gruesome. Like it causes them to hemorrhage. So
and I'm sure at that point the meat's not any good.
Yeah. So at that point, you don't want it to get into the food supply, right?
Right.
We still couldn't catch it, but there's multiple reasons why, which I'll explain why you don't want it in the food supply. So what happens when a pig gets ASF, everything within a certain kilometer radius, depending on what country you're in, has to be euthanized, all the pigs.
Wow.
So if it were to get into the U.S., we don't have it here, thank goodness. If it were to get into the U.S., Kansas State did a study, an economic analysis, and said it would cost the US $75 billion for one outbreak.
Wow.
Just one. Because you can't export pork anymore. You can't, you have to kill all the pigs in a certain radius, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then your grain prices are going to go down because the demand for grain is going to be less because you have fewer pigs.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, so I was on board. I'm like, okay. But then I start finding out more about it. And I'm like, okay, I can't do this in the US because we don't have it, for one. Where we do have it's in like BSL-4, it's like the biosafety level 4 laboratory. So that's like a lab that would have like anthrax and Ebola and select agents.
Right.
And so I found out that ASF is actually a select agent. And that made me go, huh, okay, how to get on that list, right?
Right.
If it's an agriculture disease, I start digging a little bit more. And then I found, this is where it gets really interesting. So foreign countries like Russia and China have used ASF as a weapon.
Imagine that.
Yeah, imagine that. And then we also have proof that Al Qaeda had paperwork in their plans, their plots, to use ASF as well. So the reason it makes a good choice for them for a weapon is because it can live up to a year. Like, and it can be transmitted in blood, feces, in tissue.
Okay.
So, and it's viable and can be infectious for up to a year.
Wow.
So you don't need any fancy laboratory to transport and disseminate it, right?
Right.
I'm like, that's pretty scary, Then the other thing is, because your people are probably thinking, listen, like, okay, so it affects pigs, like, so what, right? But why it's important is because some of the areas that could be targeted, it would cause economic disruption. And then once you start disturbing the economy, you can get civil unrest. And one thing leads to another, right? So if you're worried about how to feed your people, you're looking there.
We're about that far away from it right now.
Yes, we are. Unfortunately, like it's really scary.
Yes.
It really is. And I don't want to be like the doom and gloom person, but the Chinese students that brought in the fungus to affect wheat.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
and that's what I was thinking about that while you was trying to explain it to our listeners. And everything. I'm like, this a bioagent gets into the food supply.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a pretty picture.
It's not like, so just 5 grams of feces from an infected pig, say it were to get put into a shipping container full of soybean meal.
Right.
Just theoretically, right? That shipping container gets into port. The only thing they're screening that grain for is mold toxins. And that just happens to be whatever sample they pull out, right? From that point, it goes in, it's sucked up by this big machine that like goes through a conveyor belt and goes into silos. Then the trucks come in and they fill the trucks so the train cars up. All that becomes contaminated.
Well, yeah.
Once that system, and then it spreads throughout the whole country and it goes past. So swine facilities have excellent biosecurity for everything but their feed. Like people have to, gown up, shower, trucks are washed when they come in. Like it's like you're going into a laboratory. Great biosecurity on most like the large production facilities.
Right.
But the feed bypasses it.
Wow.
Which is really, really scary. So I keep harping on people about it. Like there's a threat here. Like, and we are so vulnerable, to that threat. And it's a way bad actors can do stuff to us, and it's very difficult to trace back, right? So imagine if the wheat thing had worked out. So we have issues with our wheat.
Right.
And then right now we have avian influenza taking out, our chickens.
Right.
There's foot and mouth disease in cattle. There's also like this New World screwworm that just came out that affects cattle.
I've not heard that one yet.
So New World screwworm, yeah. Screwworms used to it's like maggots. They would just eat dead tissue.
Right.
But now there's a new one that eats live tissue.
Okay.
So Yeah, it's like a whole nother, but there's like one thing after another, and some could be naturally occurring and some maybe aren't naturally occurring.
Right.
But if you compound those, pretty soon, what are you eating?
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's a it's a problem. So but I have a solution.
Well, let's hear
So we
it.
so I have a solution. So we're like, okay, we can't do the research here in the US. I did train the dogs on a surrogate virus here that the University of Minnesota discovered. So the dogs were successful in the surrogate virus. So now the plan is I'm setting up a research study in the Philippines.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah, the Philippines, they've had African swine fever in the past. And their last outbreak was about a year ago. And it cost them a little over $1 billion. And now they have to import pork. They're mostly importing from Brazil because they don't their pig population just hasn't gotten back up and running yet.
Right.
And then there's the constant fear of, is it going to hit again, right?
Right.
They're in a really tricky situation because they have to deal with illegal pork trade out of China as well. So China, nobody will buy pork from China because they've had so much ASF and other diseases, but they don't care. They ship their pork out illegally,
Right.
right? And if it's infected, the way it affects these other countries. So say someone buys pork products in the Philippines that come in illegally, and then they take their discarded food that they don't eat, their leftovers, and they feed them to their pigs on these small farms.
Right.
And then that pig can contract ASF from the bad pork. Even when
Okay.
it's cooked, they could still contract
It
it.
still lives even after it's
It
cooked.
still lives. Yeah, it has to
Wow.
be heated to like a really high temperature. Like if it's cooked well done, probably not. But if it's not cooked well done,
Right.
or any of the scraps, the blood, all of that transmits it.
Right.
So that's one point. The other weak point that we're going to be working on with them is obviously the grain, protecting their grain supply that comes into port. Because a lot of the grain that we buy here in the US and our places comes from places that could have ASF. Like we buy a lot of grain from Ukraine.
Right.
And Ukraine has ASF. And if you talk to many people on the ground there, they'll be more than happy to tell you how they're pretty sure Russia had, keep sending contaminated pigs over with,
Right.
With ASF. There was also, I believe it was in Portugal, they found a carcass of a pig in their, was it Portugal? No, it was Poland. I'm sorry, it was Poland. They found a carcass of a pig that right kind of in their central area where they have a lot of big swine production facilities, but it was a wild pig, and they tested it and it was positive for ASF. So their president went on and said, hey, this was bioterrorism. Like this was put here. So there are people doing DNA testing and they're sequencing that DNA and building libraries to try to track it back to the original source, So
Right.
we can eventually have some proof, because right now it's very, very hard to prove, where these different viruses are originating from. So with the DNA sequencing and the advancements in that technology, which we're going to combine with the work we're doing, hopefully we can start collecting some forensic evidence as well to help identify where it originated.
Right. What different bioagents do you train your dogs in that would actually help our guys and gals that's got boots on the ground in a combat theater?
Yeah, so right now we're using ASF as a proof of concept. After we prove concept in the Philippines with that, then we'll move into, depending on the areas where the guys are going to be going and the gals are going to be going, we could use our services as force protection. So if we know there's a lot of tularemia in an area. Tularemia is carried by rabbits, and it's actually killed a lot of the, or not not a lot compared to what everything else is killing them, but it's killed a significant number of soldiers in Ukraine. It's a bacterial infection that should be able to be treated pretty easily with antibiotics, but it's a stronger strain. So there's a lot of suspicion that it has been weaponized, and sent out with rabbits into the trenches, and these guys are contracting it. So tularemia is definitely one that's on the list.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's one. Believe it or not, tuberculosis. You think like, gosh, TB's kind of been around forever,
Right.
but now there are forms of antibiotic resistant TB that are
Yes.
coming out, and there's a lot of rumors about some foreign soldiers being infected with it intentionally and sent into combat zones, because then they're not only a soldier in a combat zone, they're also a biological weapon
Right.
themselves.
Right.
So tuberculosis is also a very big one that I think we could do a lot of good helping, to protect our troops, you know, and hopefully being set up in that Indo-PACOM area, we're going to get a good gauge of what's already out there. Our next Philippines is proof of concept, but then we want to move into Taiwan. And so we want to already have dogs on the ground, in Taiwan.
Hmm.
And so we'll know the landscape, and what currently exists. So if
Right.
something pops up that's not naturally occurring there, we would be able to identify that pretty quickly.
Wow. I mean, this whole thing it's fascinating and mind-boggling at the same time.
It is. It is. There's so many different aspects to it,
Yes.
I really think the use for it starts with border security. And I think for our troops, it's about screening areas that they're going to be moving into and knowing what those threats are. We're working on perfecting an air sampling system that we could send like a robotic dog out with an air
Right.
sampling device, collect the air, bring it back, and screen it by the dogs. So we have an instant verification. Are these things present or not?
Right.
So we're working on ways that we could safely, like, we've trained dogs on fentanyl. So we do have ways to safely train dogs on fentanyl. But as this progresses and people have, more trust in it, I think we'll be able to get access to more, of the select agents that need to be, identified to help protect our guys.
Well, that's great because for probably the last shoot almost 20 years, biological weapons have become a very prominent
Yeah,
weapon of choice for some of these third world countries.
they really are. They call them the poor man's nukes,
Yeah.
because it's, there's are challenges in proving it, and tracing it back and proving it. So it's really makes a perfect weapon for some of these countries that want to disrupt economies and, you know, lifestyles and just get people focused on over in that other direction.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
it is.
And
It's
and
scary stuff.
the dogs. I don't know how they do it, but I mean they've got a sense of smell that can pick up anything. I mean they're amazing.
They really are. They're really good at, you can train them to detect, like, this is normal, this is normal, this is normal. Oh, wait, this isn't normal. This is
Right.
like anomaly detection, which is one thing we're kind of looking at as well for the troops.
Right.
Figure out when something's off. You might not know what it is, because we have a new challenge coming down the pipe with you can genetically create viruses now,
Oh
and
yeah.
bacteria.
And I'm
So
pretty
with
sure that's how COVID-19
yeah,
was came
yeah.
about.
So synthetic biology. So here's where synthetic biology becomes really challenging for detection. So we have devices that can detect anthrax.
Right.
If we have different devices that can detect compounds when we know what they are.
Yes.
But if you don't know what it is, it's very difficult to detect it.
Right.
So we're working on a way to train the dogs to detect some of the things that are used in this process. So it wouldn't matter what the actual what actual virus or bacteria they made, as long as we know how to detect the carrying agents that they're using, we would instantly know, stop. Like, you need to call
Right.
in, the Seaburn guys, there's something here. So I think that's one of the biggest things. I think that'll be really the biggest thing that could help, especially like our special forces guys,
Right.
because we could send out recon ahead of time, and collect samples and test. And if we know something is in that area that is not normal,
Right.
we need to look further. So that's in development, the but I think we have a good handle on how to do it. It's just, like everything else, it's getting the funding and moving it forward.
Oh yeah, that's
You
that's
know,
always the hurdle. So
it is.
yeah,
It is.
but,
Yeah.
but it sounds like you got a pretty good track record, and so hopefully that funding flows for you.
Yeah. Hopefully it will. I mean, I think this project in the Philippines is, we've gotten some really, really good support with it. Have a previous 3-star general who's jumped on board to help us. So
That's
that's
good.
really exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really exciting. We're getting, it's interesting because you would think like the USDA would care about it and ag people would care about it, but they kind of don't as much as the military does. It seems, and I've like
Right.
kind of repeatedly ran into this, like the military seems to be the one organization that gets what I'm doing. They're like, they
Right.
understand that what the dogs are capable of, how they can be
Right.
utilized. So it's good. So
Well, they've been
that's the
using
path
dogs
we're
for
going
years,
down.
so yeah.
Exactly. So they know,
So
like, I mean, they use a dog to go clear an area, and guys'
yes,
lives are depending on it. So
absolutely.
they get it. They get
Yes,
it. So no, I'm excited to, move forward and do more work with the military on these projects for
that's
sure.
great. I would love to see that work continue because I actually adopted a retired military working dog a while back,
Oh.
and she was an AOD dog, fresh out
Mhm.
fresh out of Afghanistan. They was retiring her, and a buddy of mine was a cop, and he knew the handler, and she was looking to get them out of country as quick as she could before they turned them loose.
Yep.
And so I took one, and I'll tell you what, it's the best dog I ever had.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
that's
it's a
awesome. That is so
yeah,
nice.
it's a Belgian Malinois,
Yep.
and she worked right up until the day I lost her. So
Yeah.
I mean, I
Wow.
would take her to the vet, and I'd have to take her off her leash and let her work the room and make sure it was clear, and then she would just
That's
sit there and let the
awesome.
vet do whatever she wanted to do.
I love that.
Yeah.
They love their jobs.
Yes. Yes.
That's what I think some people don't get that. Like these dogs love what they do. It's a game
Yes.
for them.
Yeah.
It's like giant game of hide and seek. Like they love
Oh yeah.
it.
I've got another Belgian Malinois now,
Uh-huh.
and her game is how many times can I get him to let me go outside?
my my shepherd is like that. Well, you saw the little song and dance I had to do, like putting the shepherd in, putting the shepherd out
Right.
before our meeting. Oh man, I use mostly beagles on the scent work, but then
I've
anything
noticed
that
that.
has,
Yeah.
yeah, we use a lot of beagles, but I am starting to work with BTS canine. So when I need to deploy dogs that need to go into areas that aren't great for the beagles, we're working on a collaboration with them because they train, the Malinois and the shepherds.
Right.
So yeah, I'm excited to work with them.
The only
The
bad thing I could
They're
think of,
ex-military.
the only bad thing I could think about of by using a Malinois for something like that is the rockets.
They are. So the
I mean,
beagles
they're
have,
gone.
yeah, they're like gone. Yeah. The beagle has the patience to work in a training room.
Right.
So to like a laboratory setting. If they're sniffing stuff in canisters all day long, as long as they're getting treats to do it,
Right.
they'll do it all day,
Yes.
till they can't eat anymore. Um, the Malinois, the shepherd, to be bored out of their mind.
Oh
Like I
yeah.
have a Malinois right now, and she's like, she'll go in there and do it for like 5 minutes, and she goes, "Okay, let's go do something else now."
Right. Oh yeah.
Like
They
she
get
needs
sidetracked
more.
pretty easily.
They do. They have like squirrel syndrome,
Oh
you
yeah.
know.
Mine loves squirrels.
Yeah,
I keep telling her you ain't gonna catch that squirrel till you learn to climb that tree.
well, then they'll learn to climb that tree too. Trust me.
Oh
They
yeah, sooner or later.
Oh my gosh. Like I joke with people like my Malinois, her name's Ellie. I'm like, she only stays here because she chooses to. Like
Right.
she can climb out of her kennel, she can jump every fence on the farm.
Oh
Like
yeah.
she stays because she wants to be here. It's her
Right. Well,
choice,
mine's
you
the
know.
same way. I mean,
Yeah.
she doesn't even try and jump the fence or the gate or anything. It's
Yeah.
like, this is my area.
Uh-huh.
This is where the
Yeah.
food's at.
It's where the food is.
Right.
They're so smart.
Oh, she's very,
I just
very
love
food
them.
driven. So
Tell you, it makes it so easy to train them, when
yeah,
they're, that driven for, I use combinate, like with the Malinois, I use food and toy.
yeah,
The beagles, you can't get a beagle to care about a toy. Like they're only food,
right,
but it's fine.
right.
It works for what we do. So yeah, but
Absolutely.
I love both. I love both breeds. That does make me think about one other thing that I'm wanting to work on in regards to the Malinois and the
Okay.
shepherds. There's an issue with heat tolerance for the dogs. Like they'll overheat in really hot, humid environments. So there's a concern, on the military working dog side of like, how can we handle this problem? How long does it take to acclimate them? So since I'm going to be in the Philippines, I'm like, well, I might as well take advantage of this. So
Well,
we're
yeah.
going to look at breeding, like which ones do better. And then also we'll have a large group of working dogs that are there already. So if you need dogs that are willing, that you need them to work in that region, the idea is to build up a really nice breeding program in the Philippines.
Yeah, to get them
So we have
acclimated.
dogs that are acclimated to
Right.
the heat, and it's going to take a little bit of time, getting the right stock there and figuring out who does better in the heat, right?
Right.
And but I think if we get the kind of focus on the short, the really short hair Malinois, with lighter
Right.
lighter coat, and then we're looking at doing DNA testing with them. So we're going to pull the science into it.
Okay, cool.
And we're going to do DNA testing, and then we'll do genetics, and then we'll do epigenetics. So what epigenetics is, it's how the environment affects their DNA.
Mm-hmm.
And so it'll take some time to build that up, but to figure out which dogs do the best, but also carry the qualities that we need in our military working dogs. So that's that's on the list, the to-do list there in the Philippines as well, because it's a perfect place to work on
Well,
it.
absolutely. I mean, because we're using Malinois in the desert already.
Yep.
So
Yep, we are.
I mean, there's ways to get them acclimated.
Yep.
Otherwise, we wouldn't be using them.
Right. Yeah. And so, the goal is to figure out what are those best genetic lines,
Right.
like who does the best job,
Right.
Who can handle that heat better,
Mhm.
and are there things that we can do, as breeders and as trainers and handlers to help that dog acclimate,
Right.
or it might be a matter of like generation after generation in that environment,
Right.
and we'll see how they adapt naturally. That's where the epigenetics comes in, how they adapt to being in that hot, humid environment,
Right.
over time. So that'll be exciting. I'm excited. Right now there's a shortage, and there's going to be a bigger shortage, with war going on, of good quality, military working dogs. We buy 90% or more of our dogs, out of Holland.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So it's a problem. It's actually a national security problem.
Right.
Because we purchase over 90% of our working dogs. Even that includes like cargo screening and everything else.
Right.
out of Europe.
I
And
did
so
not realize that.
it is a problem. Yeah, because it's expensive to breed here in the US
I
because of labor
I just
costs.
always figured that the military bred their own. I don't know.
No. They had a program at Lackland, and they didn't have great results, and they do some
Right.
still, but it's mostly they source mostly, out of Europe. So and specifically Holland.
I'll be
So
damned.
the yeah, it's really crazy. And then I was talking with the guys in Holland, and they're like, we're going to have a problem down the road because the reason they have so many dogs there is the KPV. So it's like sports. It's a sport where they use the dogs. So they
Okay.
train them to do all the cool stuff. So kids start out doing it when they're little, like kids here, play football and baseball.
Right.
These kids are training dogs.
Okay.
So there's
So they're doing like
historically,
agility training and stuff like
yeah.
that.
Yeah, they do bite work, they do everything. So there was always this huge amount of dogs available that were trained and ready to go. But what's happened with a couple things, technology. So the kids are on their computers
Oh
now
yeah.
and they're not training dogs. So it's lost popularity there. And then PETA got involved and recorded one of the things they do, like when the dog's on a bite sleeve, they hit them with like a hollow stick. It doesn't hurt them.
No,
It's
it just makes noise.
yeah, it just makes noise because the bad guy's gonna be beating that dog trying to get off of them,
Right.
right?
Right.
So it's just getting them used to that. Well, some crazy PETA person had cameras hidden in the woods, recorded the stuff. They went to like people in the press in Holland. One thing led to another, and now they made a law they can no longer do that.
Wow.
So PETA's really ruining like
Yeah.
the working dog stuff in
Yeah.
Holland, which is also cutting back on the numbers. So as these numbers start to get cut back, they're going to take their best dogs first, and we're getting the leftovers.
Right. Well, I can see that happening.
Yeah, and the whole world buys from them, not
Right.
just us. The whole world buys from them. So there's really an opportunity, we need a program here in the US.
Yes.
Bottom line, it needs to be subsidized by the government so
Right.
it's affordable to do. We need to bring in really good, well-bred dogs and have good trainers and proper facilities set up. That needs to happen for like national security
Right.
reasons. What they tried to do to solve the problem, right? Some politician thought this was a great idea to start a program. Wait till you hear this.
They don't have good ideas.
No, they started a program with the American Kennel Club and thought these breeders that breed these dogs to sell as puppies could breed military working dogs. So they start this
Right,
program.
yeah, not
This
happening.
is going to solve our problem. And I talk to guys.
We're not taking them to Westminster.
No. Oh my God. I talked to a guy from Global Canine. I do a lot of stuff with them too. And he goes, do they think we are going to travel around looking at dogs and go, and that person's got 3 dogs, then go all the way across the country to another person that's got 2 dogs, and they've been raised as pets.
Right.
They have not been raised to be working dogs.
Right.
That's not the solution.
No.
We really need to lobby. So anybody out there listening that wants to get on board with this,
Right.
we need to lobby to have and it needs to be done privately because we know government stuff doesn't always work out the best.
No.
It needs to be private industry setting up these breeding programs and actually doing it properly.
Right.
So
it definitely needs to be done now that I know all this, because I was not aware that we were buying them from Holland, and we definitely need an in-house system, in-house breeders. I mean, it just makes sense.
We have to. I mean, because you think about how many dogs we go through between. People don't think about cargo screening.
Oh no!
But
it's got to be done.
The number of dogs used, it has to be done.
Yes.
If you go up to Global Canine, they do an amazing job with the cargo screening and getting the dogs through. But you go up there and they've got God, probably 80 to 100 dogs at any given time, in training in their place in Alabama. And so there's a lot of dogs that go out. You think of all the dogs for all the cargo screening. Then you've got all the police dogs.
Yep.
And you've got bomb dogs, you've got drug dogs, you've got gun dogs.
Yep.
And then you look at other private organizations, like it's a lot of dogs.
Yeah.
That doesn't even get to the military dogs, right?
Right.
So there's a lot of dogs that are needed, and the quantity, it's just not there. And then the shipping cost from Europe is gotten really expensive as
I
well.
can imagine.
So you've got a lot into that dog by the time you get it here to the US.
Yes.
So
yeah, there's a tremendous amount. There's a tremendous amount of not only money, but time put into these dogs. So
there really are.
Yeah.
It's the labor cost.
We definitely
that
need
gets
something
us
here. Yeah.
We do. We really do. So hopefully that's something, as time progresses down the road. Like, I mean, I sell beagles to the USDA, and they have trouble getting dogs too. But
Right.
problem is, like, they want to buy them green, but not really green. Like, their idea of green is they already kind of know how to do everything. And
the one I got now, I got her when she was 4 years old, and she's dumber than a box of rocks.
They're not rocket scientists, I'll tell you that.
She had absolutely no training whatsoever, and I thought, what am I going to do?
Beagles are they are a breed of their own. For
yeah,
sure.
I've had beagles, and whenever I was younger, when I'd use them for rabbit hunting, but
Yep. And
yeah.
so a lot of my lines, they come from rabbit hunting lines.
Right.
And, but I honestly, I have a huge market out of the U.S. Like, Israel buys a ton of dogs from me.
I did see that in your bio where you had the partnership with Israel working on, was it cancer?
Yeah. So there I work with a company called Spotted Early. So they had reached out to me. They read my published research on cancer, and they asked if I would consult them. And then one thing led to another. And I've shipped probably about 20 dogs to Tel Aviv.
Oh, wow.
I'm always texting my friends there, like, when the bombings are going on. I'm like, are the dogs okay?
Oh, right.
Okay. But yeah, so I've shipped a lot of dogs there, and they love the beagles. Like,
I'm sure.
At first, they were using labs, and they're like, "You're using beagles?" I'm like, "Yeah."
Right.
And I'll just come here and see them, just watch them work. So they sent people over, and
cool.
Yeah, no, it was great. They came, and they're like, "Okay, yeah, this makes sense," So if you go to their, if you look Spotted Early up online, you'll see a ton of videos, and the majority of the dogs you'll see came from here.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, they're doing amazing work. Like, they had the funding behind them. They're combining AI and some other diagnostic tests for the cancer research. So it's just so exciting watching what they're doing. And I was like, if anybody can get it across the line, it's them. So I'm really excited.
I mean, they're just the things that they do it's spot on. It's amazing. I mean, they make some of the best firearms in the world.
Yeah, everything they do top notch.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, they don't skip on anything.
No, I've had the best experience, working with them, because negotiations took a little bit, getting to the point. But once we agreed upon terms, like, it's just, I've just had a great experience. Like, everything they do is like top quality. They don't cut corners.
Right.
And that's why they get results.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
It's why they get results. So I'm really hopeful that, we can eliminate this issue with Iran quickly, and that'll mean so much more peace, not only for us, but especially for Israel.
Right.
It's,
do you ever do any work with canines as far as service dog training?
I do. So sometimes we have dogs that don't have the energy level to be working dogs.
Right.
And most of my beagles fail out because they're too sweet. They just want to be glued to you.
Right.
So first thing we try to do is see if we can make them into a service dog, and so, yeah, we've put out dogs for We've done diabetic alert dogs. We've done a few psychiatric service dogs.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll train the dogs to, do different functions for someone. It might be grabbing medication.
Right.
It might be, coming and getting on their lap or laying on them when they're having an episode.
Right.
So, yeah, occasionally we do. It's usually with our dogs that aren't making it, or I'll send the dogs to another program, if we're too busy, but we have
Right.
a dog that's a good candidate. I'll reach out to other programs
Okay.
and be like, hey, I've got like a dog that would be really great for service work here.
That's cool. There's a veteran, and I can't remember exactly what area of Florida he's in. But that's the work he's doing now, and his organization is called Pop Smoke.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
You'll
Yeah.
have to give me his contact
Yeah,
information.
absolutely. I'll get it to you for sure.
Yeah, that would be great
Yeah, I'm
because
thinking he's around the Tampa area, but I'm not 100% positive.
oh gosh, he's close to me then because
Yeah.
I'm just down in Sarasota. So
Okay.
yep,
Yeah. I'll definitely look him up and get the introduction made.
that would be great. I really
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Absolutely.
The more people we can meet, in this industry and like-minded people, I mean, the more work we can get done. The more good we can
Absolutely.
do for everyone.
Absolutely. I just did an interview last night with a young lady out of Montana
Uh-huh.
that's got a veteran service organization out there, and they're doing amazing work, fly fishing and bow elk hunting and photography, and they've got not only programs for the veterans but programs for the couples. They got a
Nice.
caregiver program that they do and everything. And she and I was talking about it's not about us, it's not about our organization, it's about what we can do to get these veterans the help that they need.
Yeah.
So if it means reaching out to another organization, that's what we're going to do.
Right. No, that's so important. I need to connect you with so my friends at BTS Canine,
Mhm.
they also work with Method Endeavors, but they have a nonprofit, and I don't know the name of the nonprofit, but they do stuff for veterans. Like they'll take them skydiving.
Yeah,
Like
we've got an organization here in Ohio
yeah,
that does that.
yeah. So
Yeah.
they do all kinds. Like they show me videos. They took a group and they were skydiving
Yeah.
over the pyramids.
Oh, that's
Like
awesome.
great, like crazy cool stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to they would be great to be, on your show. I'll
Yeah,
have to hook
absolutely.
you
Yeah,
up with them.
because we've got a local skydiving team here,
Awesome.
and they're the ones that you see dive skydiving into all the sporting events with a flag.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah,
That's
they're
fantastic.
based right here in the same town we are,
Yep.
and
That is awesome.
we get a group of veterans together at least once a year, and take them over and let them jump, and they
I love
always love it. So as soon as they
I
hit the
love
ground, they're
that.
ready to go back up.
Yep. That's
And
amazing. Yeah.
we've got one guy who's actually on my board of directors now that used to jump with them and became a certified jump instructor.
Oh, nice.
And he has jumped several times with his service dog.
Uh-huh. Oh, that's awesome.
And he just lost his dog a few weeks
Oh,
ago. So
I'm sorry.
he's having a
Oh,
real hard time right now. So
yeah.
yeah, he's taking his dog jumping with him, and it's
Oh,
amazing.
that's so cool. Yeah, these
Yeah.
guys, I'll have to find out where. I know they have the base in Florida, but I know they're from someplace else too. I'll have to find out where their other location is because they
Yeah.
also jump with dogs too.
Oh, that's
Like,
cool. That's
yeah,
cool. I
they'll do
love
the
watching that.
dogs. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so cool.
Mm.
But I'll definitely connect you with them
Yeah,
too.
absolutely. So,
That's yeah, they do amazing stuff too.
oh
So
yeah. So,
very cool.
do you ever work with canines? And I know that you're doing it with veterans
Uh-huh.
for service dogs, but do you ever work with like people with autism?
So I haven't done the autism dogs. I had some requests for it, and it's just the training the service dogs takes so much time.
Oh yeah, it takes years.
It takes years. So that's why it's labor intensive,
Yeah.
and people like, are like, oh my gosh, how much? Yeah, it costs so much just because
Oh
it's
yeah.
so labor intensive. So yeah, I generally like if I find a nice dog that would work for that, I just try to pass them off to the organizations that
Right.
that's their main focus,
Right.
you know, to work with.
I know most of the ones up in our area are using labs.
Yeah, labs are amazing.
Yeah.
Like yeah, for that type of work, I mean, a lab is great.
Yeah. Yeah.
They just
Most
they
of them,
love.
yellow labs. Every now and then you'll see a chocolate, but they're mostly yellows.
Yeah,
And they're amazing dogs. And
they are. When
they're,
I was at the guide dog school, we had almost all labs.
yeah, yeah, they're perfect dogs. Their demeanor and everything, they're perfect for that line of work.
Yeah, they really are. Like
Yeah.
they just yeah. I had I've got a chocolate lab right now that was a rescue situation. And but I think he's gonna make it as a detection dog. Like
Good.
he's got a lot of drive. He's a big boy though. His name's Chewy. He's so funny. He's like he was super fat when I got him, so I had to get weight off of him.
Right.
But yeah, this dog, he's like labs are just it's like they're happy all the time.
They are. Most definitely
So
are.
funny.
We used to have a breeder and a trainer up north of us, and that's all she does is train service dogs.
That's awesome.
And that's primarily all she uses is labs. But
Yeah.
once a year, when it's time for them to graduate and move on, she holds a little picnic.
Oh.
And the new owners come in, and me and my organization's been up there because we support them. And it's in an old park that's not used anymore that they've gotten access to, and it's got a pond in it. And those dogs get out in that pond and roll around in the mud. And they'll take a watermelon and throw it out in that pond, and they'll wrestle that watermelon until they get it up on the bank and bust it open and eat it.
Oh man, they have so much fun. I did not realize how much dogs like watermelon until I have a English Springer Spaniel, and she's pet. She lives in the house, but she stole a piece of watermelon from my daughter the other day. My daughter had like a plate beside the couch. All of a sudden, I hear this like crunch, crunch. I'm like, what on earth does Luna have? And she was eating her watermelon.
Right. Oh, they love it.
It's so funny. Like my shepherd was like looking at her like, what is wrong with you?
Right.
He went over, he smelled the plate of watermelon.
Right.
He's like sniffing it, and he looked back at her like, no, and he just went and laid down. He's like, that is not steak.
Right.
So funny. Oh my God.
Man.
I love dogs. They add so much to our lives,
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
They're a lot of fun. It's good.
Absolutely. All right. Well, it's been great having you on the show. But before I let you go, is there anything that we didn't talk about that you'd like to bring to the forefront, or anything you got going on, or?
I don't think so right now, but I would love to come back on after I, get things up and going in the Philippines.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Would love to come back on and kind of tell you what that's like over there.
Absolutely. I'd love to hear how it went.
Yep, definitely. And sometimes too, as we start scaling up, we'll be hiring, and I do try to hire veterans.
Okay.
So I'll reach out to you when
absolutely,
because
I've got a lot of connections down in the Florida area. So that
would be great. Yeah. So we'll have to talk about that because I'm probably going to be looking pretty soon. And
right.
They have a lot of times it's just easier to find like the skill set and the discipline that we need.
Okay.
In the veteran community. So
absolutely.
we try to focus there with our employees. For
absolutely. Sure. In fact, I've got a guy that I've got in mind right now to reach out to. He's over in the Tampa area as well.
Oh, great.
Colonel J.D. Riaz. He is pretty much leading the charge over there in that area and in that area of the state with veterans in the veterans treatment courts.
Yep.
So
we definitely need to talk about that. Then.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. That would be excellent. Do you ever get down here to Florida?
Oh yeah. I've actually got family over in Daytona Beach, Ormond Beach area.
Nice. Yeah.
And then I've got friends in Tampa too. So
perfect. Well, gosh, if you're ever down here, you want to come see the dogs.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Love to have you.
In fact, I just retired, so I might be down there more than I normally am.
There you go. Hey,
If
it's
this
beautiful
snow
down there.
keeps coming, I'm heading that way.
I can't believe you guys have snow again. Like, so I'm going up to New York at the end of the month to see my son that's at West Point.
Oh,
And
nice.
yeah, he was raised in Florida, you know, and
Yeah.
he's so funny. He called me the other day. He goes, Mom, he goes, I walked outside today, and like they have like, you know, their roll call in the mornings. And he goes, the sun was shining. And he goes, it'd been so long since I had seen the sun. And
Oh, yeah, yeah.
laughing.
They've
I was
got
like,
hit hard with snow.
they've got hit so hard.
They don't
The
get
funny,
inches, they get feet.
funniest, I'll have to say, this is such a funny story. So my son's he's very reserved. He's a gymnast, like he does competitive gymnastics
Okay.
and wanted to go to a military academy basically his whole life. So he tried to get into West Point. He didn't get in the first year. He tried again. He got in.
Okay.
He absolutely loves it. But the snow, he'd never seen snow really, right?
Okay.
So I asked him, I'm like, so did you guys like class get canceled or everything get canceled when you got like 22 inches of snow? He's like, well, class got canceled, but we still had to go outside and, you know, do roll call and stuff.
Right.
And he goes, but then he goes, we got to have a big snowball fight
Right.
after. I was like, oh, that's awesome. I said, what was it like throwing snowball? He goes, kind of like throwing a hand grenade. I was like, oh my God. Something I would never imagine hearing him say.
Right.
He's like, yeah. I guess that's sad. Your kid learns to throw a hand grenade before a snowball.
Right. That is
It's so
that's
funny.
pretty bad. But if you've lived in
Funniest
Florida
comment.
all your life, I mean,
Exactly.
yeah.
It was honestly the funniest comment ever, especially if you knew him, because he's like, you just wouldn't expect that out of him. So it was
Right.
quite funny. But he loves it. Like he really, yeah, he's found his place. So I'm super happy for
Well,
him.
that's great. I'm glad that he
Yeah.
did. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not easy to get into West Point to start with. So that was a
No.
feat. That was an amazing feat in and of itself.
Yeah. Yeah. And he was like very aware what he was, you know, what he was getting into. And I think that's what, you know, it makes it a little bit easier. I know a lot of the plebes, you know, their first year, some of them struggle if they don't realize what they signed up for, you
Right.
know.
Right.
But
But
he was aware.
also, you know, in West Point, it's not like, you know, going through basic AIT and grunt school and
Right.
mountain
Yeah.
warfare and
Yep. It's very different. Yeah, it's very
right.
different.
So I mean, West Point makes leaders.
Yeah.
They don't make
Yeah.
followers; they make leaders.
They make leaders. Yeah.
Right.
So gosh, it's amazing. Like each time I see them, just what our military is able to do, like how they mold and develop
Yeah.
these kids. I think there's purpose in everything they do, from how the order they eat in when they sit down at the table to
Right.
everything they do.
Oh yeah.
I've been so impressed. Like
Yes.
what an amazing program and opportunity like he's been blessed to have.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm really excited for him. Really proud of him too.
Oh, you have to be proud of it.
Yeah, it's good. It is.
All right.
But yeah, I think yeah, I know I've probably gone like over on your time.
No, it's okay. I mean, I've had some go 30 minutes. I've had some go an hour and a half. I mean, it just,
no.
whatever we want to talk about, we'll talk about.
Oh, really enjoy talking
Yeah.
with you. And yeah, just let me know. And I will, I'll message you the contact information.
Okay. Yeah,
for-
please do. And then
for
I'll get you the information for the guy over at Pop Smoke.
that would be great. And also about the like the veteran you were thinking about. That because I'm gonna hopefully like in the next month I'll be ready to hire someone. So that would be
okay,
great.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll definitely send that. And then you guys got an excellent guy working for veterans at the state level. And
Who's that?
Jay, can't remember his last name. I want to say Collins, but I know that's not it. He's right up there. He's like the governor's right-hand man.
Oh, is it the lieutenant governor?
Yes, he is the new lieutenant governor.
Yeah.
Jay.
So ironically, I just got a message. We're working on setting a meeting up with him.
Awesome. That's
to,
awesome.
like,
He's a great
discuss
guy.
Everything we're doing. So yeah, I'm super excited. I mean, I heard him speak once. He's such an amazing speaker.
He is.
And just hearing his story and everything, I was like, wow.
And
So
once you get him on your side, you're in.
that would be awesome.
You're in.
Yeah. So
He's
I really
done
hope that works out. We
he's
get to
done
meet with him.
fantastic work in the state of Florida for our veterans. So
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
really, really good to know.
yes.
Yeah, we have this, especially this Tampa Bay area. We have a ton, with McDill being right here, and
Well, you got SOCOM there too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
got everything right here.
Right.
So yeah, it's that's really good. No, I hope it works out that I get to meet him.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I would try and do my best to make it happen if I was you,
Yep.
because I mean he's just an amazing guy.
Yeah, and we need advocates. We need people that
Yes.
understand the threat and the enemy that we're facing.
Yes, and he's a veteran himself, so he's been in combat. He knows, what our veterans need. So, and he's the man to be there. So he's doing good work.
That's great. That's really good to know.
Yeah.
Perfect. Hopefully I'll get to meet him.
Absolutely.
All right.
right.
Well, I'll be in touch then. Thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure.
It has been a pleasure, and I want to thank you for coming on and sharing your story and shining a light on the importance of the bioterrorism issue and the things that's being done to try and counter that. So I mean, you're a big part of that. So thank you.
Yeah, no, the more we can get the message out for people to understand. I mean, I don't want to scare people, but people need to be aware.
I mean, these are the difficult conversations that need to be had.
Yeah.
I mean,
they really are.
To be sitting around with your head in the sand and then just all of a sudden something slaps you upside the head and you don't know where it come from. That's not good.
No, we definitely need policy changes.
Yes.
This is one last thing I'll mention. It's very difficult. Like, the USDA does a great job with their detector dog program, but they don't have enough dogs to handle like the port screening, all these things. So what I want to propose moving forward, and it's going to take lobbying and a lot of work, but when they mandated that all cargo screening going on airplanes had to be screened, they made the third-party canine cargo program. So they privatized it, and it's been a huge success. The same thing needs to happen on the agriculture side.
Oh, yeah, I totally agree.
They need to privatize this because we could run with it then. We could build it up fast. I mean, we've seen what private industry can do. And that's where we need to go. So the more we can get that message out there, and like farmers were shocked. I talked to a friend of mine, she's a huge cattle farmer, and I was like, do you realize that in the entire state of Florida, we only have 5 agriculture detection dogs? 5.
That's it?
That's it.
Wow.
And you know how many ports we have? We only have 5 dogs.
Wow.
They're not covering everything. They can't.
No, they're not. They can't. Right. Like I said, it's
the
impossible.
work they're doing is great, but they can't cover, their hands are really tied. So it really needs to be privatized. So I
would agree with that.
Yeah, it's the only way to provide the security that our country deserves.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's my last thought. Last thought.
All right. Well, I'll let you go and enjoy your sunshine.
Thank you. It's actually the breeze. It's starting to get a little chilly out now.
Is it really? I'll trade you.
That's true. I know. I should not complain. All right. Well, have a wonderful evening. Stay warm.
All right.
And let me know. Send me the link, so I can share with my friends.
Oh, absolutely will.
Okay.
It's 2010. It's approximately 18:30 in the evening here at Port Operating Base Forest. Please tell me your name and your rank, sir.
My name's Corporal Jimmy Robinson.
Congratulations, you just got promoted here. First time being promoted away from the States?
No, I got promoted to PFC during my first deployment.
So this is your second deployment, is that right?
Actually, my third.
Your third. One in Afghanistan?
Yeah, I've done 2 in Iraq, 1 in Afghanistan.
All right, tell me, what's your job?
My job, I'm a fire team leader, Alpha team leader under Sergeant Riley.
And how old are you, sir?
27.
How long have you been in the Army?
I've been in a little bit over 5 years.
Where do you hail from?
Originally from Cincinnati, Ohio.
Home of the Bengals, is that right?
That's right.
I was speaking with Sergeant Riley earlier, and he spoke quite highly of you. You guys look like you have a really tight group here.
Yeah, it's we're all really close. We're all pretty good friends across the board.
You have family back home?
Yeah, I've got a wife and 2 kids back at Fort Campbell.
Congratulations, and their names?
Thank you. My wife's name's Kate, and my oldest daughter is Emily, and youngest is Tori.
Anything you want to say to them?
I love you guys, and I miss you.
Very good. Corporal Robinson, congratulations on your promotion.
All right, thank you very much.
And be safe out here.
I'll try.
It's Jim Sperry, August 15th, 2010, at the promotion of Corporal Robinson. Corporal, what's your first name again?
It's Jimmy.
Jimmy. That's an easy name to remember. My name's Jim.
And it works, huh?
All right, roger that, buddy. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Congratulations.